What is up, you guys? My name is Adrienne, and I'm here with Our Dream of Simple Living. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you have never been here, welcome. I'm so glad that you stopped by. If you've been here before, hey y'all, thanks so much for coming back. So last week I kind of took a break from doing any videoing. We are in Mississippi and we are knee deep in the snowmageddon, which is what I like to call it. For you guys who do not know Mississippi, we are not used to super cold here in the South. However, we are accustomed to, having snow, but typically when we have snow, we get it we do get it in January or February, but we're kind of used to just having ice and then it melting in a day or so. We have basically been hunkered down since last Sunday evening, and just kind of here. We have been able to go to the grocery store one time. We live in a very rural area, so most of our streets are side streets and we really can't get to anywhere. The majority of our neighborhood is ice. So we have just been making do and doing the best we can. Thankfully, we have been doing the pantry challenge, but I will say that in that we've had to kind of give ourselves grace because, we basically had a budget of about $25 a week, but not being able to go to the grocery store has made it a little bit harder for us. So we've had to kind of get creative, and we will talk about that on another video when we're actually talking about the pantry challenge. But I do want you guys to know that we are here and we are good. It's just last week it was really I don't know, I felt like I just needed a break. For those who haven't been around a long time, or those who have, I actually work a 9 to 5. I homeschool my kids. My husband works outside of the home. And so we are very busy with life and sports and different things. And I don't know, I kind of came into this new year feeling a little bit of overwhelmed. We had some family emergencies happen right at the end of the year with our oldest daughter. And I think even outside of that, we, had quite a bit of a scare. And I'll just leave that. I'll talk about it at a later date. Not really ready to dive deep into all of that, but I think that it's finally kind of catching up with me and just getting back into a routine and getting into kind of our new normal has been a little bit challenging for me. And I didn't realize it until last week that I was just kind of in go mode and I needed to really slow down. With our church, we typically do at the beginning of the year, we do a consecration time where we do our prayer and fasting. And last week I kind of really felt like it was important for me to stop and to really just dive into that head first and really just rely on the Lord for some strength and some answers. And so that's kind of where I was last week. And really, I feel so much better this week. I feel refreshed. I'm getting there, still kind of, going through it, but I'm so thankful to be back here with you guys because I really enjoy this. I did want to kind of change it up this week because I know we've basically only talked about the pantry challenge this first part of the year. I don't want you guys to think that that is the only part of my channel because there's so much more that I have in store for you guys, and a huge part of my channel is talking about the garden. So for those who garden, you know that it is time, and it has been time to really talk or really plan for your 2024 garden. Spring is right around the corner. I keep trying to tell myself, even though there's snow on the ground, it is still time to think about what we're going to be planning out. A lot of things we really need to go ahead and be starting. My last frost date is April 2nd. So I can go ahead and start some of those lettuces and brassicas. I wait a little bit longer too. However, this year, I really want to make sure that I get a good head start because the last couple of years I really haven't. So I've been planning out my garden. I, have this garden planner that I use that I actually created. It's just a really simple garden journal. I'll try to put some photos up in the video so you guys can see it. It's nothing fancy. just something that I made for myself, because so many garden journals have so much information in it, and I just didn't need all of it. I know that most garden journals have like homesteading, you know, livestock, processing and all the things, and I just wanted something super simple for my space. Another thing that you guys may or may not know, if you've been around for a little bit, we actually did a complete overhaul in our garden space. I'll actually put some pictures here. We basically got rid of everything that we had, wiped the slate clean, put down some weed fabric, and redid our whole entire garden. I am so super excited about this because it basically doubled, if not a little bit more, the space that we have, and I cannot wait to get growing in that space. The other thing is that we are basically waiting to get our soil. We had planned to get our soil, and then Snowmageddon came, and people can't even drive down our streets. And so we're kind of in a waiting position with that, which became very overwhelming for me because I would have loved to have my soil already. However, things work the way that they do. I'm not going to stress about it. We will have it in plenty of enough time to get our crops planted. So thankfully, I can get my seeds started inside, and when it is time to put those out there, we'll have them ready to go. One thing that I've had to kind of tell myself is that this is the garden. This is the garden that we're going to have for as long as we're on this property. Once that soil is here, aside from amending it and all the things, it will be here and it will be ready for us year after year. So even if it's taking a little bit more time to get it going initially, I have to keep telling myself it's going to get there and I'm not going to worry about it. One of the things that I also wanted to kind of talk about a little bit in this video, and if you guys want a video of me elaborating a little bit more on these things, please let me know. And I will do that. But I kind of wanted to put all of this in one video, and you guys kind of tell me what you want to know, more about with specific topics. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to show you guys was my seed setup. So I have this shelf behind me, and I believe this shelf is going to be enough. I am probably going to be starting more than 100 plants this year. That's another reason why we wanted to go ahead and expand our garden, because we really needed more space. We started at this home with 8 3x6 beds. We had some green stalks. However, we didn't have long enough beds for instance, our tomatoes. I would love to have a wall of tomatoes. I would love to have one particular space for my tomatoes, but what we were having to do was put tomatoes in specific beds, put them in cages, it became a lot. And so now we have actually expanded into, we have 6 16-foot beds. We have 4 10-foot beds. Let me make sure. 1 8-foot bed. And then we're going to have, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 16-foot beds. 1 2 3 4 5 6 10-foot beds. 1 8-foot bed. And we'll most likely have 2 4x4 beds, which for me is plenty of space. So much more space than we had, and I'm so grateful for that. So we are planning to max out this garden this year. One of the things that I'm going to go back into, which I've been studying up on like I used to, is my square foot gardening. I actually have a book, and I'll try to put a picture in here. If I don't get a picture in here, I'll put the link to it in my Amazon store below. That book is amazing, and I love it, and I'd kind of gotten away from it because I was really basically just buying plant starts and just plugging them in here, there, and everywhere. But that book teaches you so much that you need to know. There's a lot of information, even when it comes to making your own soil, all the things. So definitely been reading up on that more. We are going to be using our, I think is it the seeding square? I'll put the exact name of it. I actually have that in my Amazon store as well. that was amazing for us, especially with direct sewing things. So we're going to go back to doing that. Now, even though we have these bigger beds, we are going to be breaking them down into 4x4x4x4, because that makes it a little bit easier for me visually to actually plant within a 4x4 box. So again, once all of that starts, I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. You'll see it. It's going to be fun. The other thing that I have here is heat pads. So I have plenty of these, just that I've purchased over the years. You know, these are essential for germination, or at least I think, especially if you're doing it inside. If you have a greenhouse, I don't really know if you need to. I've never planted in a greenhouse, so that's a future deal. But germination pads, I like to call them heat pads. I'll have all of this, everything that I'm talking about, basically, I'll have linked in my Amazon store for you to click and just kind of look at if you want. So I have those. And then the lights that we use that we actually really love are these lights that I purchased on Amazon. And these do come 2 in a box. You can tell that these are much longer than my shelf. That is one thing that drives me crazy. And I will most likely get a longer shelf so that these will actually fit within the, you know, the shelves, and they don't have to hang over. If we don't get those this year, it is totally okay. We will fix it and we will make it work. We've always made it work. That's one of the things that I really want to talk a little bit about today, because I found myself in a place of aggravation, frustration, trying to overdo it, and just trying to do all the things at once. You know, if you have built a garden from scratch, like a bigger garden, you know that that is not cheap. Whether you go with metal beds, whether you go with all wood, it is not cheap. Wood is not cheap. Whether you use landscape fabric, soil, whatever it is an investment. That is why this time it was so important. And my husband was like, we're going to do this right this time. We are going to invest the money into these beds. We're not just going to halfway do it, because this is an investment. Even if that meant that we needed to do half of the garden at one time, half of the garden at another time, it didn't matter. We were going to do this the right way this time. Once you make that investment, that is something that I know for us, we do things in increments, because, you know, we can't really afford to go and just invest $1 million into everything. You know, granted, I would love to have someone that will come and shovel all the soil into these beds, fill the beds, do all the things. You know, however, for me, I kind of like doing it the way that we did it, because me and my husband have basically always built our beds in our garden, and our, you know, and so it's family time for us when he's available to do it. And even if he's not, my girls are here and we can kind of get it done. So we always come out much cheaper doing it that way. However, you do what works best for you. If it works best for you to hire someone, or if it works best for you to get metal beds, or if it works, do what works for you. If you only want to do vertical gardening, GreenStalk is an amazing option. I have all of that linked below. You can actually get, I think, $10 off your purchase. Get GreenStalks. Plant in buckets. All I'm saying is you can do it. There's grow bags. There's so many things that you can plant a garden in. Just get started. Do not let the overwhelm of, I've got to have this, I've got to have that, I've got to do it this way, I've got to do it like they do it. Don't let that cripple you, because if you allow it to, it definitely will. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is pots. Your pots that you need for your soil and your seed starts, your containers, all the things. Now, I don't have those things in front of me. I will be doing a video when I actually start my seeds showing you guys what I'm using. But one of the things that I just knew this year that I was going to do, and I may still do this, is purchase all new seed starting stuff. When I started to look up the prices and all the things, I was like, oh, this may need to be a little bit later. However, in my garden shed, I actually have containers that I've only used once or twice. I have all of my containers from the plant starts that I use that are in perfect condition, that are actually good quality, I have stuff that I can use. Now, eventually, I will most likely get a soil blocker. But then again, I don't know that I want to do a soil blocker because you're still going to have to pot those up. For me, I kind of prefer to just plant in my 2.5-inch pots so that they can stay there until they're ready to go out in the garden. I don't know. I say that now, but that may change. So I said all of that to say this. There are things that you need to get started with seeds. Another thing you're going to need, and we're going to talk about this in a second, is the seeds. However, do not let the overwhelm of this is going to cost so much get to you. Guys, you can get started in red Solo cups. You can get started in, Dollar Tree has these little peat pots that you can get started in. And if you want to know, if you guys want to see more about all of those options, options that I really like, because I'm not going to show all of the, like, you know, I know that a lot of people use toilet paper rolls or newspaper. There's so much stuff that you can use. However, I've never used those things. I'll show you the things that I've used and what works for me. So if you'd like a video just on my seed starting essentials, please let me know in the comments, because I really don't mind doing a video on that if it's going to be beneficial to you all. So all of that to say, you can start seeds and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. You can do this on a budget. One of the other things that I made a goal to do is to shop my seeds. I actually have a couple of containers like this that I purchased from my local Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and they are chocked full of seeds. First thing that I started doing when I started thinking about seeds was I started adding them to the cart everywhere. I was like, oh, gotta get new seeds, and that started to get overwhelming for me. When I realized that my cart at one place was over $150, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you thinking when you have all of these seeds that you have not even used? Now, granted, some of these seeds are dated as far back as 2020, 2021. However, you can test these seeds to see if they're still viable. A lot of times what I've found is if the seed is a little bit older, all I need to do is sow more than, sorry, my husband was at the door. Just sow a few more. So whereas I may normally only put 1 or 2 seeds in the, in the soil, I may put 3 or 4 just to make sure I get germination. So I'm not saying that that works for everything. Don't quote me on that. I am no seed expert. I'm not a master gardener. I'm just talking from my experience. So lots of seeds in here that I can get started with without the need to go and buy everything. Now, there are things that I definitely will need to buy. Like, I do think that I need some cabbage seeds, some broccoli seeds, and more. I have some more carrot seeds that I need. Sorry, y'all, I'm sitting right here by my heating and air unit, and because of all of the snow and stuff, it is much louder than it normally is. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. But just work with what you have. Now, of course, if you're a beginner gardener, you're going to need to buy seeds. But I would definitely recommend that if you are a beginner gardener, think about the things that your family will eat. Okay? Only buy seeds for those things. Don't go and overdo it. Like, don't go and buy, if you know that you guys do not eat radishes, don't go and buy radish seeds. Like, what's the point, right? So for me, I'm just going to kind of tell you guys, some of the things that I plan to plant out in this spring crop, and I may leave some of these off, but I do plan to start my own onions and leeks. I do believe that I'm going to buy some shallot seeds just to see if I can get those started. Now, I typically would buy my onions from like Dixondale. I do believe that my local Tractor Supply has them. I've never purchased them from my local Tractor Supply, but if they do, I'll get a few of those. I don't plan to plant a ton of onions because I don't really have anywhere to store them. And that's the same with potatoes. We want to plant potatoes. However, I don't have a huge storage space or like root cellar for potatoes. So we're going to grow as many as we can, but we won't do like a 16-foot bed of them. So that is something that we're planning to do. So we have some onion seeds here. I will also put in the comments some of my favorite seed companies. I will tell you now, hands down, one of my favorite is Emma Gardner. All of their seeds are $2 a pack, and that is an amazing price point. So I've never had an issue with their seeds germinating. I have never had any type of issue with Emma Gardner, so that is definitely one of my favorites. And as I go and as I see other seed companies that I've used, I'll definitely show you guys that. So lettuce seeds, again, Emma Gardner. Now I'm going to tell you guys, when you are at your local Dollar Tree or Dollar-ish Tree, because you know they're $1.25 now. However, I think these are still, the seeds are for $4. Pick them up, okay? Never had an issue with my Dollar Tree seeds. Absolutely never had an issue. I have actually had the one time that I actually purchased Roma tomato seeds from Dollar Tree. They worked well. I purchased from other companies and they just did not work well. Could have been my issue. But anyway, if you see these, get them. That is Dollar Tree. You know, and I'm not going to go through everything, but like these, I love these. I'm able to get the Southern Exposure Seedage Change seeds from my local Ace Hardware. Love them. Another place that I love to get seeds from is Baker Creek. Now, you're going to pay a little bit more for their seeds as opposed to like Emma Gardner, but you know, if it's something that you're looking for in particular, definitely look at, you know, some other seed companies, but I will post some of my favorites in the comments for you guys. Another thing that we are going to be doing in the spring garden is our brassicas. Our cabbages are, I think kales would fall into brassicas. Cabbages, broccolis, those type of things. So those are actually going to get started soon for me. Root veggies. You know, our rutabagas, our, let's see, our radishes, purple top turnips, those type of things are going to be planted in the spring. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Our favorite time to grow is in the spring and in the fall. Those are the things that we eat the most of. We love greens. We love kale. We love radishes. We love turnips. For me, the summer, the most that I really grow in the summer garden is tomatoes, cucumbers, okra, what else? Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. I may throw some other things in there, squashes. We kind of fall out with squashes. I do try to grow them. However, they always get taken over by squash bugs, and I typically don't keep trying because we don't eat a ton of squash in our home. So that's not something that I'm going to spend a whole lot of time trying to grow. However, I do put them out there for good measure. So another thing, carrots. So this came from Emma Gardner. These are the Royal Chantney, I don't know, carrots. $2 for 1,000 seeds. I can grow 1,000 carrots, y'all. Now, I will say that there's another, I think I want to try the Bolero carrot as well. I always try to grow a couple of different kinds of carrots. So I do have that one. I got this from Baker Creek. It was a free seed. This is the Corral carrot. Don't really know much about it, but I will definitely put that in the ground. Got some beet seeds, more turnips, kohlrabi. I've never grown kohlrabi. If you have, please let me know how you like these. I kind of like to see, try our hand at growing them since we have the seeds and we have the space. So it's another thing, you know, just if you have the space, try things out because you don't know. You may actually end up loving it. Another thing that we like to grow is snap peas or peas in general. I actually found these peas. I forgot that I purchased these. I got these from Little Shop of Seeds. I don't think they're in business anymore, but their seed packets were like 55 cents for like this many seeds. Loved it. Loved it. I've never had an issue with germination. Never had an issue with their seeds. So I am going to test these inside, although I typically put all of my peas, you know, I direct sow those. I want to test these to see if they're still good. And if so, this will be our pea of choice. And I actually have some Dollar Tree Sugar Snap peas. So we'll do that. And then there's another pea. I want to say maybe an Oregon pea that's a little bit flatter. So I will need to purchase those seeds. And I'm going to show you in our garden journal how I have all of that laid out for the things that we're going to grow and things I need to get. So yeah, then outside of that, we have our leafy greens. I have my kale here. We love dinosaur kale. We have some more kale in here, but I'm also going to show you how I like to purchase my greens, and different seeds like that. So we've got some herbs and different things like that. Now, another thing that I like to do is I buy a lot of my good soil, like potting soil, from my local co-op. And one thing I love about my co-op is that they actually have seeds as well. So they have a great price on their seeds. As you can see, this is a bag of seeds. It's this many seeds in here, no lie. And this is just one scoop. This is like the next to the small scoop. So I could have gotten a smaller scoop for like $1.50. But for this many purple top turnip seeds, it was $3. Okay, so if you have a local co-op, check them out, because I've grown great things from their seeds. That's where I typically get my bean seeds and all of the things. So another thing I got from them is the 7-top turnips. So this is basically the turnip that's going to turn into a bulb. We eat the greens from these as well. However, these are just the green seeds for the turnips. So this is not going to bulb up. This is just going to give you the turnip greens. Another thing that I got from them is my mustard green seeds, my collard green seeds, and my kale seeds. I think these are Siberian dwarf kale seeds, which is fine. And then the other kale, we'll throw in some other kales that we have, but we'll definitely grow quite a bit of dinosaur kale or Lasiento kale. So again, guys, this is just kind of my thought process and where we are. But anyway, if you guys are interested in knowing exactly what I use and how I set up my seed starting station, please let me know in the comments. If you are interested in another video on exactly what I'm going to be planting, let me know as well. I am going to be doing a different video talking to you about our tomatoes and peppers and all of those things. So again, I am so glad that you guys are here. If this video, or if you found this video interesting, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That really, really helps my channel to grow. And yeah, friends, until next time, see you later. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, y'all.